What's up to everybody that's going to be watching this later? Nobody here yet. Hey, Monica.
Yeah, I saw it.
What's his number?
90-something.
90. It's 90. Vito Caruso.
All right, we'll be on here shortly. We are kind of waiting, letting everybody trickle in. We'll say watching Helias is on the field right now doing some of their workouts, watching their punter. He just shanked one there, but previous punt was a good 60 yards in the air. He is a punter and kicker. Kicking wise, he is a Division I recruit, probably the best kicker in the state. Getting looked at Notre Dame among other schools. So if we're watching, we're probably going to keep an eye on that. Curious.
If we Google Aaron Benson, we were just shout out to the tailgate crew across the street. Michael and I were able to get a pork burger before we came over, but Aaron Benson looked up for us. The record in high school is 68 yards. Of course, in high school, you can kick off a block. The wind right now is predominantly from east to west, and it is pretty strong. You got to figure, like most Missouri winds, it will die down at dark. So something to keep, west to east, something to keep an eye on, as he is actually kicking that same direction right now from the west to the east. So,
so he attempted a 56-yarder last week. He has made 55-yarders before in camps and whatnot, so something to keep an eye on. But we got enough people on here. We'll go ahead and get started. This is the 2Dub Show. Thank you for joining us. Sponsored by Quinn Farm Supply again. Thank you to Jerry and Matt and everybody out of Quinn Farm Supply, and also St. Clair Service Center. Their information right there. Sponsored the last 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank Kenny.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks also, Jerry and Brad Williams, for the nice brats and pork burgers we just ate over at the Bring It On tailgate crew. Scrap and Jerry and all the guys over there, we appreciate your sponsorship and feeding us before we came over.
Yeah, and if you get a chance to use any of the either of those businesses, be sure to do that. We certainly appreciate their support, and we'd like for them to get some support from everybody that's watching. Again, no negative comments. Kind of our normal statement. We want to keep it positive. Be talking about a lot of things throughout the show. So,
and we just want to also point out too, Mike, before we get started here, tonight's pink out game. So, got our pink ribbons on, and the players. If you're not here tonight, you're going to see an interesting uniform combination that's never been done here at Monroe City. Pink in the actual jersey, but definitely want to get a shout out to all those breast cancer survivors, especially my mother. Keep fighting the good fight out there. If you're battling it, you've got a lot of people supporting you, and want to definitely thank Coach Kirby and the football team for inviting 3 ladies to take a picture. Mrs. Sprague and Mrs. Alcorn, as well as my mother, and Guy LeBaring for taking the picture. Very cool picture if you haven't seen it.
It's on there on social media. Look at it, very well done. And
if you don't know what the type of kids we deal with here in Monroe City, I said, Mom, why didn't you tell me about the picture? And she tells me about it. She said, the second that they said to the players that some breast cancer survivors were going to be there, everybody that was players in that picture stood up and gave them a big round of applause. So that's a kudos to our kids. That's also kudos to our coaches for coaching, and you as parents too. So that's awesome.
All right. Interactive question of the week. We got a lot to get to, but the question we have for everybody today is, what's your favorite venue outside of Monroe City that you've seen a high school event at? A lot of different options out there. So just name them on the chat. We'll go and find them. Again, we're on YouTube. We're on our 2Dub Show on Facebook. Did just see the kicker kicked one at least 10 yards out of bounds on a kickoff. So that was pretty impressive. But we'll start off with Monroe City cross country. We have a couple new things. Last week, they won their first meet in conference history, in school history, when the girls won a meet, I believe, at Moberly. This week they have the Clarence Cannon Conference girls meet. Boys don't have enough team-wise to have the meet. They have what they call the Nemo Open, I believe. But the girls third in the conference overall. Emily Williams fourth, Bailey Hayes fifth. Those are both first-team all-conference in cross-country. Hannah Wheeler finished 14th. That's second-team all-conference. Lexi Burke just out. I mean, the other three just outside Lexi Burke, 18th. Lauren Smith 20th. Olivia Chin 27th. I mean, great performances by all. Just a very solid start to this cross-country program for Monroe City. And, for a program that, none of these people had ever ran a cross-country meet, and they've been competitive. I mean, Bailey
I
and
think
Emily
all
are
six of those were PRs too, correct? I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And then on the boys' side, they had the Nemo Classic. Cabot Harlan third, Caleb Griffin fourth, Jackson Wheeler sixth. And that was with, I think, 3 or 4 different conference schools participated in that. They didn't have the full complement that the girls did. So great performance by all. It's just, we are living in a pretty special little time frame for all sports, and cross country stepped right into that and had been successful throughout.
Yeah, so Monroe City's coming out right now. They're doing their prayer in the end zone. Pink on the shoulder pad area, black, white uniforms, pink outline, and the pink socks tonight. Those of you that can't be here to see it, pretty cool. Yeah, cross country, very impressive. You don't start a program and are that successful. I think the exciting thing is every one of those kids that Michael just mentioned is back except for Red Bailey Hayes. And, would not really be surprised if Bailey doesn't decide to go run somewhere in college. So another potential college athlete coming out of these classes. And Coach Mulvaney, Laura Mulvaney's the coach. It's just, like you said, Michael, just a great time to be a Panther fan and just about everything that the Panthers touch. And just hosted 15 band performance, field day,
all
parade
throughout town.
Yeah, just a cool deal, and it's just exciting. A lot of that is, of course, due at least in bringing the band day for New Langford Field and having the field turf and the facilities that we have here. So we're very blessed in this community for sure. Thank you all for coming. Let's do a couple interactives here. Brendan Williams is listening to us in from Kansas City.
Said Lincoln Prep High School in Kansas City just opened blue and yellow turf. That'd be very cool. And he said Principia's track is gorgeous.
And they would have went there in sectionals a couple times there, just south of St. Louis. And that reminds me, one I never thought of, but was real cool to go watch a track meet in Boonville one year. We had districts there, it's kind of the school's like built into a hill and the stadium. It's kind of neat. So that was one I just thought of.
Yeah, and before I get started, I do want to say we talked about the kicker. The kicker, before they went into their stretching lines, just kicked a 47-yarder that went above the goalpost and went past where they are filming. So it had every bit of 57 yards, I would almost guarantee.
Yeah, and again, we've got the west to east wind. That's where he's kicking to. So that's wind behind him. They are not going to be afraid. Now, typically, we see the wind die down at dark, which is going to be about just past kickoff. So he may not get that wind advantage, but they're not going to be afraid to put points on the board through the air, which is something we don't see a lot in the CCC. At Centralia, Palmyra sometimes, but for the most part, we just see people go for it. They're going to kick field goals tonight.
Right. And so let's keep things moving along. Let's go to softball. Softball, 13-7 overall, 2-1 week this week. Wins over Highland. Highland, the big, great senior night after that against Moberly. But how about senior Madeline Meyer? Been battling some injuries throughout. Highland, a team that's been Monroe City's kind of had a bugaboo with Highland. 2-run home run in the 6th inning to give them the lead 5-3, and they win that game. And then senior night, senior for the 4 seniors, Warren Youngblood, Madison Moss, Danielle Bonner, Madeline Meyer. Lolo hits a home run on senior night. They beat Moberly. They do fall to a 1-loss Canton team that's going to be a force to reckon with in Class 1.
Probably a Final Four team in Class 1 for sure.
Just some of the stats.
And, kudos to those seniors. I saw a picture on Twitter. I think it was Don Youngblood's Twitter. And you guys got some hops, too, for for being softball players, you guys got some air there on that neat picture. Cool moment. See, always love senior night as a teacher, coach, administrator. Now, as a fan, that's always cool. And Michael's got some unbelievable offensive stats here.
So Monroe City right now has 7 players hitting above 400, and Riley Quinn's right behind it at 390. Impressive, led by Lauren Youngblood, who's hitting 685. Her on-base percentage is 713. 71% of the time she gets on base. Her OPS is 1.7, which is unreal. 50 hits already, which probably is bordering on a school record. 32 runs, probably bordering on a school record. 8 doubles, 4 triples, 2 home runs, 30 stolen bases in 20 games.
So go back to that very first number there, Michael, 685. Now, the OPS and some of those sluggings are more of the new school, statistics, but everybody can relate to a 685 batting average. You can't do that on RBI baseball back in the day.
Right.
Wow.
And then you got Bailey Hayes hitting 519. Emily Friday, 508, and she's been on fire.
She was like 9 for her last 10 at some point this week. I mean, that's a 900 batting average in 10 at-bats.
Danielle Fonner hitting 463. Kaylin Fimler, 448. Carly Youngblood, 436. Mackenzie Moss, 400. Riley, 390. Home runs this year, Lolo, Danielle Fonner, and Belle Clark, the freshman, each have 2. Home runs for Bailey Hayes, Emily Friday, and Riley Quinn, and Madeline Meyer as well.
And how is that? I mean, how great does a problem that Coach Chin has? You've got a freshman they bring up due to an injury
to Bailey Hayes,
who is red hot, who's had an unbelievable off year, and she's hit 2 bombs and is hitting very well too when she's been in there. 381, not nearly the at bats, but still. And the future's still bright there because a lot of those girls are going to be back. You've got 2 freshmen contributing. But just real quick on those seniors again, Michael. Lolo, Danielle, Madeline, and Madison Moss. A real tight-knit group there. Good leaders, great kids, great members of our community, and just having the time of their life right now. And 2 seed just came out today, too.
2 seeded districts. They will play that. Their first game will be on the 17th of October, I believe. Their main pitchers, Riley Quinn, a 3.64 ERA average, 73 strikeouts in 69 innings. Kaylin Fimler, a 2.19 ERA.
Rhett is with Tanner Beaver, Dad, over at the tailgate, so he'll be at the game. He wants you to bring him some socks if you're still listening.
And we do have an announcement. So we will be – got a thing on YouTube. We'll get to that, Duck. But on Monday night, Monroe City plays Salisbury. We will be back in our outfield area calling the game. Again, it will be a lot like last year. We can't show the game and do all the things we're going to do, but we'll be there. We're going to, we want to give as much love as we can, especially let, the people that can't be out at Lions Club Field get a chance to listen to us. We can't call it on the radio, but we can call it on Facebook Live. It'll be on the 2Dub Show page. We may have more details, but
so JV game first pitch there's 5. Those typically get over in about an hour.
About 6 to 6:15 is when we'll come on the air and we'll call the whole game. And softball is a slower moving thing, so tell whoever can watch, jump in. We'll be willing to talk everything. We can talk Cardinals baseball, whatever comes up. We talk about Elias, talk about the upcoming football games, softball, whatever. We want it to be interactive because, I don't think anybody wants to listen to us talk that much.
So spread the word, especially those of you that have family that just can't make it. You're out of state or out of, or you're sick or whatever, and you can't make it out there. They always do senior night a game or 2 ahead of time in softball and baseball simply because the weather is an issue. They want to make sure they can get those festivities in. So it gives them a couple game leeway. They were able to get that in, as Michael mentioned, against Moberly. Canton game was actually a makeup, so they wouldn't have scheduled any senior nights there. So even though technically it's going to be the last home game, senior night will have taken place, but still the last senior night for those 4 seniors before heading to districts over at Montgomery County High School.
That's right. So we'll move along here. Again, our question of the week is favorite high school sports venue outside of Monroe City. We do have the Duckster, Duck Quinn, watching from Oklahoma. says his favorite place, probably Palmyra with the great rivalry. It's probably been the most common answer that we've got so far.
Great place to play a football game. Great place to typically watch a football game if you can get a good spot, to stand, typically Michael and I, or if you were lucky enough to get a bleacher seat. As an administrator, by far the worst place to supervise a game because there's people everywhere. But just a kind of a cool, and we know it's Palmyra, but it is a cool place to take it in. They have, of course, built a brand new.
Quarterback's out. All right.
Breaking news
here. Helias starting quarterback Jacob Weaver is right now. His right arm is in a sling.
Nope. In street clothes.
So right now it looks like Tyler Sandbooth and Zachary Wolkin are working at quarterback. So
now there was some rumblings that the guys were talking about at school that maybe he had a shoulder banged up, but you kind of take that for what it's worth. Confirmed.
He is not in pads, right arm in a sling. So huge news. And we will have more on that later. We'll see if we can find out what we can. But anyway, as we move along, let's get to the Mayor of Huntington's top 10. Top 10 this week. Not a whole lot of changes, just a switch between 2 and 3. So number 1, Cardinal Ritter 6-0 last week, a 46-20 win over St. Mary's. They play a St. Francis Borgia team out of Washington, Missouri. Helias has actually already played at B. Luther North 4-1, actually got a win to go to 5-1. They beat John Burroughs 49-6 yesterday. Maryville 5-1. They have a bye this week.
Never like to see that when you only got
especially
9
this
games.
late too.
Yeah, that's all about scheduling. Maryville is surrounded by 8-man football. None of the St. Joe teams want to play them because
they're good.
They're good. It's a lose-lose for those St. Joe schools because they're bigger and they should have beat them type of thing. Yeah,
so,
sucks for them.
Lathrop 6-0, number 4. They have North Platte, the easy win. Number 5, Centralia, they are at South Shelby. Number 6, Clark County at Palmyra. Number 7, Summit Christian at a 4-2 Van Horn Class 4 school. That'll be an interesting game. They're undefeated. 8, maybe the game of Southwest Missouri. Ava 6-0 against Thayer. 6-0, the number 2 team in Class 1, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Lamar plays McDonald County will be a win, and Palmyra number 10. So we'll get that's Brad, the Mayor of Huntington's top 10.
And the only thing that I'm going to usually Brad I think's good, but I think I would put Monroe City in the polls right now at 10th over Palmyra. I think our what we the whole compare score deal. I think when you compare scores, Palmyra and our scores, I just think we've competed a little bit better. But it's always on the field, right? Week 9, right here. The rivalry game. So Carrie's joined us. Carrie, you're going to have to rewind a little bit.
We talked cross country about 10 minutes ago.
Congrats to M there on first team all conference, as well as to Bailey Hayes again. And of course, the guys, like Michael mentioned, not able to compete as a conference sport, but still very well represented. So
and we know Emily gets that all from the Williams side.
Yes.
So anyway, we'll get back to the football a little bit. Last week, Monroe City a 38-12 win over South Shelby. Keenan Batzel doing Keenan Batzel things, 252 yards. Offense pretty dominant. Defense, first half played pretty good. Second half struggled with quarterback contain. Daniel Burke over 200 yards rushing in that game. Shut him out in the first half. Really played well in that first half. Just, one of the things Coach Kirby said is he's waiting for that 4 quarters of just dominant of good football for 4 straight quarters. We just haven't quite put that 4 quarters together yet.
So I'm driving back from Oklahoma. I'm listening to Michael and Jeremy. Thanks again to Jeremy for filling in. And, before we even got back from the halftime break, I'm thinking to myself, it's homecoming. You're up 32. You're up big. You're not 32-0, but you're up. You've shut them out. You had some really cool plays at the end of the half. You've got all the momentum. And we're dealing with 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. I mean, there's a natural letdown there, and I kind of sensed it coming, just, being around it enough. It's what happened. But, sometimes we forget these guys are kids, and, I think the natural letdown there. And I think ultimately as coaches what you want to see is these last 3 weeks especially And what better way than the number 7 team in Class 4 is just see where we're at, compete for 4 quarters, try to put our best 4 quarters together, then you roll into districts playing your best football.
Yeah. So,
and what a stretch, Michael, that these Panthers are facing. I mean, you faced a scrappy South Shelby team last week, and then you're running a gauntlet here to finish the season. Elias, Clark County on the road, Palmyra at home.
Yeah, I mean, just as tough a 3-game stretch, the Elias to Palmyra as you're going to find in this area. Some of the other games last week in the conference, Brookfield a 33-0 win over Highland. The shocking score, and everybody that listened last week probably is laughing at me, and me and Jeremy both said, hammer the over on Clark County Macon. Of course, Clark shuts out Macon, wins 20-0. I mean, obviously we don't know anything. But
I worked in Macon this week talking to those guys. So, Clark did some things defensively that they were able to maybe slow down Rickenberg in the deep passing game. But here's the other shocker, too. Not only does Macon get shut out, Clark only scores 14 offensive points, less than 200 yards of total offense. They score on a defensive touchdown.
And their second touchdown was after Macon went for or had a fake punt from inside their own 30 or 40-yard line. Kenny, we got the hats on.
Yeah, we mentioned you earlier, buddy, but thanks again for sponsoring us. Thanks for joining us tonight, too.
Quinn Farm Supply, also another sponsor. But, the other one, they scored on a 40-yard field. So it's not like they were driving down. And, as we saw, that Macon defense was not good. I mean, Eric Van Delft, a good friend of mine. I haven't talked to him in a while, but, coach at Macon, I know a lot of guys there, not a good defense. They just weren't. Can't really sugarcoat it against Monroe. They really shut down Clark County. So really interesting to see. We'll get to this week, but Palmyra 33-6 over Kirksville. Kind of a shocking game. We thought Palmyra would win that game. And then Centralia, without their starting running back, Luke Hunter, who's a really good player, they beat Mexico 13-10.
Michael, is that 18 there? So, again,
18 and 13 are rotating.
Those who just joining us, quarterback
Luke Weaver, everything for just Elias.
Almost 3,000 total yards. Last year
has
basically on pace.
Over 1,600 yards this year of total offense. In a sling, no pads. So right now they're working with number 18, Zachary Wolkin, and number 13, Tyler Sandbooth.
6'1", Sandbooth, a 6'1" sophomore. Wolkin, they're saying a 5'3" junior. There's no way that kid is 5'3", so more like 6 foot, 190-pound junior.
Wolkin more of a big, looks to me more of the passer. Sandbooth more of the runner of the two. So we'll be interested to see what's going to go on there. So somehow that's unbelievable. Facebook just freaked us out. Jay walked by us and asked if we wanted to tag Jay.
They are good-looking hats, Kenny. Yeah. Thanks, my man, again for the hat and for your continued support.
All right, so let's get an announcement. Details coming, but we're going to return. Two Doves game day is coming back. Palmyra week, 2 weeks from today.
Right here.
So I doubt there's any high schoolers watching because I'm sure they're down there. But get the word out. Details to come. We're going to try to have a special guest, and we got word that Weaver was hurt in practice, probably out for the year. So huge loss for Elias. But anyway, let's quickly get to this week in the conference. Brookfield at Macon. Does Macon get back on track? Going to be the story of that game. Centralia at South. Centralia should roll there. West Hancock and Highland, intriguing. Two teams that have really struggled. Can Highland get off the snide? Can West Hancock get their running game going? They got a big win last week against Macomb.
So I'm going to go with Highland there, I think. Give it to the CCC.
And then Clark at Palmyra, game of the week. Quickly, thoughts on that one?
Well, I think it comes down to Palmyra's defense has always been very stout these last few years. But can Palmyra's offense, but you're not going to keep Lapsley out of the end zone in that offense. So can Palmyra's offense generate enough points? I don't see either team shutting them out like Clark did. Close game. I don't think the kicking game's going to matter due to the weather. Close game, Clark in a close one.
I think I'm gonna go Palmyra in a close one. I think their defense has been a little bit better. Quickly, we're going to have a lot more on the radio show quickly. Keys to the game for Monroe City tonight.
Monroe City has the ball. We'll talk about it on the radio, 107.5 The Lake. Use every second of that play clock. Now, things have changed since was thinking about this earlier with the quarterback out and that potent offense. You still want to use the clock. We need some patented Monroe City drives.
I think that's going to be the key. So even with the quarterback being out, you still got a Class 4 team that's had a lot of success. They run the option. They're going to run quarterback contain. Keeping everything inside is going to be a key. I know Monroe City has experimented with some different things defensively. We'll kind of see, we don't know how they're going to actually come out, but we know they're looking at some different things. The other thing is Keenan Bassel ran for 280 yards against this Elias team last year. In my head, I'm wondering if Monroe City doesn't come out and maybe go away from Bassel early, go outside, come out and throw the ball a little bit because they have watched that film and they've seen Keenan Bassel running down their throat for a year now. And you have to think that they're going to do everything to shut the middle of the field out. You have to think maybe Monroe City comes out and tries to catch them off guard, maybe gets a big hit outside or on a passing game early and then come back to Bassel.
Much like Michael said against Brookfield, exactly what happened. Coach Kirby ran out, really established the jet sweep. And then in the second half, Keenan takes over. I'm like Michael. On the defensive side for the Panthers, you have to take advantage of any mistake Elias makes. If the ball's on the ground, you need to grab it. The ball's interceptable, you need to take advantage of it. When we have the ball, we just need to keep that offense out. So on the defensive side, the quicker, obviously, we can get our offense the ball, the better off we're going to be.
And the other thing is we haven't had a lot of quarterback sacks. A new quarterback on a short week because the quarterback did not get hurt till later in the week. Pressure on the quarterback, see if you can cause a mistake there. But those are ours. I think, take away the deep pass, make Elias work, run down the field. Monroe City's better suited for long drives than a Elias team out of the shotgun passing game.
And we need the ball on offense, not wear our defense out, because ultimately Elias did wear our defense out last year. They don't have as many two-way players. It's just going to happen a Class 2 against a Class 4 school.
But ball control is going to be a key. I know Coach Kirby, ideally he'd like the ball 30-plus minutes.
Yep.
35 minutes, even if possible. Just hold on to that ball and make Elias work. So interesting. Will be interesting to see. Just quickly, let's talk about the venues. We mentioned Palmyra, obviously for the atmosphere and everything. It's now become a unique field. But, I think the atmosphere plays a lot into that.
Sure. And, of course, it's a rivalry game.
All the places we played state championships in, the TWA Dome in the 90s. 94, and then later going to Springfield for state championship games.
Hearn Center for the girls, and then the 95 basketball team for the boys. So girls championships were, all through the 90s there with Coach Fleur, but of course 95. Hearn Center.
Golf, Macon Country Club, battles there, just very intense battles at Macon Country Club. So that's one. Ryan had the Pit. I've never played at the Pit.
Actually, I had to just watch. I hurt my knee in the state game, but it just, anytime you can say you played there, that's a cool thing.
One that kind of popped, Marion County.
Cool place.
I like playing at Marion County, for that, a small community. Seems like every single person in Philadelphia is there. They're usually loud. That's a fun place to play. We talked about Palmyra's football field, but their gym, when it's packed, that's a lot of people because you have the upper deck. That's a really cool place to play. I think it's the best gym in the area for a big event.
And then our gym is just so awesome because it doesn't hold that many people, so you can have it's so loud and intense. Of course, we're talking more about other places, but we all have a special place in our heart for Old Langford because the people on the track, it's hard to beat this new facility. And, of course, we're pretty proud because now these are all popping up and we were the first. So that's pretty cool, too.
Track. My favorite, I didn't run track in high school, but I got to run at Mizzou's track, and that was a great experience.
And our kids, you kind of mentioned it, but for those kids a couple years ago to win state there with Mizzou, was pretty neat facilities. And it's just so. Here's another one for you, Michael, that we were talking about earlier. How about Elias's facilities?
That's
That's
the best facility I think I've seen a football game at, high school.
And we're sitting here not only in an unbelievable stadium, but we're looking across, and there's an unbelievable soccer field. There's unbelievable tennis courts and this and that. So it's pretty cool. We need to wrap up. We're getting the phone call.
We got to go on. I want to finish with this. Actually, my absolute favorite, the Old Holy Dome.
The
old Holy Dome. So,
yes. And a couple reminders, Michael, about softball and game day.
Softball, Monday. We will be there. Details come probably about 6 o'clock start. Game day, 2 weeks. Tell everybody. Get the word out. We want to get a big crowd here. Details to come. Special guest to come. So follow 2W Show, and we will make an announcement at some point.
Yeah, and we're if we get the person we're hoping to, it's a recent fan favorite.
Yes. So thank you for joining us, and we'll be on the radio shortly. This is